This episode is brought to you by SPI Logistics, the premier freight agent logistics firm in North America. For over 40 years, SPI has been diligently building the most successful freight agent network to provide first-class relationships for our shippers, receivers, and carrier partners. We are more than another transportation network. We are a dedicated team of professionals united by one singular purpose, and that is to expedite our agents' success. All of our agents are set up for success on day one, as they are provided with a full suite of support staff that is ready to assist them with everything from after-hours emergencies to financial and administrative needs on a no-fee basis. This way, you can focus on continuing to grow your business. There is no financial risk to start, and you have the ability to earn up to 75% in commissions. If you are looking to take control of your financial future and build your business with the backing of one of the most successful logistics firms in North America, visit www.spi3pl.com to learn more. Do me a favor and let them know that the Freight Coach sent you.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back. We are live. It is the Freight Coach Podcast, the top podcast in transportation, coming to you guys every single weekday, 8:30 a.m. Pacific, 10:30 Central, to break down some industry headlines. But most importantly, you guys provide some actual insight into what you can do with all of this information. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. This is the real side of freight, ladies and gentlemen. And I do say that before every single show. And what I mean by that is I only speak with transportation professionals, because at the end of the day, you guys, I want to talk to the right individuals who have done what you're looking to do or who are currently doing what you're trying to achieve, so you can take that information, apply it, utilize it, and see a meaningful difference in your business and your life. Happy Thursday, everybody. I got a very special guest for you guys, and I'm going to bring him up here in a second. We met all of 5 minutes ago, and I can already tell that this is going to be a really good one for you guys today. But my team wants me to say this at the beginning of the episode as well. If you get value in what you hear today, you guys, and you're not subscribed, subscribe to the show. Based on all the metrics that we pull, and trust me, I'm a big data guy. It might not look like it. 60% of the people who listen to this show every single day aren't subscribed yet, you guys. So if you want, subscribe, share it out there to your network. So with that being said, you guys, we're going to be talking about the niche, right? Like, you know, I'm all about the niche on this show, and this guy and his company are on the opposite side of the spectrum from my open deck and heavy haul brokerage that we run. He's in temp-controlled, time-sensitive freight out there. So I got Mr. Jason McArthur on the show. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time to join me.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's good to be here.
No, man, I'm looking forward to this, right? Like, I'm not joking, you guys, when I say, like, we met all of 5 minutes ago, and I can tell that this is just going to be a good one out there. So, man, how'd you get your start in freight, Jason? What brought you into the industry?
Sort of indirectly. It wasn't on purpose at first. I bet that's a similar story to a lot of people doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, gosh, going all the way back to like college jobs, and just after college, I worked in a number of different retail settings like Costco, and working my way up through like lower level leadership there, like supervisor, manager type roles, running a crew, running a floor, stuff like that. From there, I ended up going to actually work for C.H. Robinson for a few years, but more on their like produce side of things, but still dealt with some freight that way. Jumped over to a couple of grower shippers in the Salinas Valley after that, and then ended up going to work for another freight brokerage for a couple of years, cut my teeth in that, and then ended up starting Lone Cypress Logistics here. And it's so far so good for almost 4 years now.
What was that moment? I always love asking founders this. What was that moment where you're like, I got to go out on my own and do this for me?
A couple different things. I like to personally run more like program, like dedicated business, kind of like white glove service. Really seeing things through from start to finish and offering more than just picking up and delivering. Right. So when you talk about, niche, we do quite a bit more here. We help with like load planning, load building, arranging drops in the right sequences and things like that. And that's kind of what I was doing before at several other places I worked. And to bring that level of attention and skill and some expertise into that, and to be able to offer that to a specific set of customers is kind of what made me want to get going off on my own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's, I think for me, it was, I don't know. I don't think, at least from my perspective, I was never a bad employee. I just always wanted more, like I don't take direction well, in the sense of like being told what to do day in and day out. Like, eventually I just wanted to get out and just try for myself. Right. Cause I feel like, it just was getting to a point in my life where I'm like, man, I just want to go out on my own. Like, I want to try. Right. And And I always look at it is, you can always find work, like you can always find, if you're a good employee, you can always find a job. And that was kind of my mentality. And now, coming up on, almost 6 years of being self-employed, like I'm unemployable at this point, right? Like once you start to find a way to like get it going on your own, it's addicting, man. And I've really fallen in love with the process of the unknown that comes along with it and taking that dream. And then, like when I started everything, man, I was on like a broken folding table in my bedroom, like, and then just building it up to where it's at today is, man, it's awesome to see that growth. And, it's, we made a couple of small internal changes here from like our process, because like, I love developing business, but like once it kind of gets its wheels, I'm not that I don't like it, but I just kind of get bored. Right. Cause I'm like, all right, like we got the system in place. Now I want to go out and hunt for more. And
what's next? Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that's kind of like where I'm at with it. And those are those small tweaks that we've recently made where it's like, hey, now that I'm going to just focus on that. And it's, when you're out here building the company from nothing, you hit those inevitable walls where it's like, hey, you got to take more refined roles now if you want to grow and scale.
Yeah. But we have some of those conversations here a lot. We're up to 11 people now here, if you include partners and everyone working with us. We're up to 11, and we do like a weekly Tuesday conference call. Some people have their monitors on, some don't. Half of us are probably working during it, kind of half paying attention, but it's a good way to like kind of get with each other and like talk about what we're doing this over the past week. And you're right. It's not like it's not like it's never enough. That's not what we're saying at all. Like actually one of our like strongest points every week is protect what you have. Like we're not here. You're not doing the business you have without the business you have. But we are always talking about kind of like what's next. What direction do we want to go? Should we ask all of our customers, hey, let's look ahead to your next season or your next bid period, your next whatever. Just we need to be asking the questions like what's next. And that doesn't necessarily mean getting into a different side of the business, but maybe get more out of what we have or ask for referrals. Just constantly be looking for ways to expand a little bit and do a little more.
How are you working with your team right now from a business development perspective when you're out there and you see all the headlines in the industry, right? Like, freight recession and this is the longest blah, 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 everything in the sun of like how to not go out and sell. So it's like, how are you working with your team and like, what are the big differences you've seen in business development pre-COVID and post-COVID?
Yeah. I'll start. I'll tell you how we do it here. It's kind of an evolving deal here. We have 3 people right now that touch business development. We have Brent out in Michigan, who's kind of like our sort of customer facing type business development, constantly looking for new contacts, new ways to engage new potential customers to work with. We have Brian, who's recently started here. He's actually who got in touch with you about this. He's more of like a kind of a blend of like social media, reaching out to potential people that might want to join our company, reaching out to potential customers that might want to hear more about like what I spoke about earlier, more than just picking up and delivering, offering a bit of a blended, like all-encompassing service, sort of start to finish. So he does that. And then we have another Brian, one of the partners here, who's kind of oversees a lot of that and also, dips his toe in the water too. Where Brian and I are headed down to IFPA down in Anaheim in a couple of weeks. So definitely a lot of face-to-face customer and potential customer interaction with him. And then as far as like pre-COVID versus now, I wasn't really doing this pre-COVID. I was still working for a shipper, but I was on some pretty big business working. I'll say it. I was working for Taylor Farms in Salinas here, massive produce shipper, and helping them with the like national Walmart business, which is just huge. I think it was their biggest account at the time. It's really, really big, tough work. But in doing that account, I got to see a lot of like what was out there and what it was like for, say, the the salespeople at Taylor trying to reach new customers and develop business with existing customers. And I don't know, I think it seemed maybe a little bit easier before COVID. That's not that's not fact. It's just maybe how I feel about it. During COVID, a couple of years, Wild West, right? Everything was crazy. Freight was all over the board. Cost of goods were all over the board. The stuff was just wild. But you look at it now, and it almost seems like for a lot of people, business is harder to get. And what I would say to that is, if you're doing the same thing as everybody else, you're not really separating yourself from everyone else. So that's to one of your points. That's what we're trying to do here, is sort of separate ourselves a little bit. You spoke about niche a number of times. That's what we're all about, offering a specialized service and trying to stand out that way.
Yeah, I was just talking to a buddy of mine yesterday about this, right? Because you see a lot of stuff on social media, and again, everybody makes it seemingly it's so easy, right? Like everybody's making $5 million a year, like it's just the norm, right? Because that's just what social media breeds. And I think like when we're out here and we're developing business, I try and tell people, like, pre-COVID freight selling, it like the rejection was all still there, but like the main difference that I noticed is if you got the decision maker on the phone and you had a couple of decent conversations with them, they're going to give you like a prove it shipment, right? Like, hey, cool. Like if you are who you say you are, let's roll. Let's try one of these out. That doesn't exist anymore. Like and that's pretty much non-existent, because most people aren't even answering their phones anymore. Because I think there's just such a constant bombardment of stuff that's going on. But to your point, Jason, and one thing that we found success in when we are cold calling people inside of our niches is that's what sticks out. I'm like, hey, I'm just calling to see, like, are you 100% using flatbeds in this situation? And I'll call out their product. I'll call out everything, because there's a potential blend there, and that does throw them off their normal rejection routine, because they're like, oh wait, hold on a second, what are you? No, I'm asking this. This is all I'm concerned about. If you guys don't do this, I won't call you ever again. And that has kind of like shifted that narrative when we are talking to people. And has that led to a massive influx of new business? No, it hasn't. But it's setting the stage of like, hey, we're subject matter experts in what we do. And that's really what we're trying to establish ourselves at, because at some point it's going to change, right? Anybody who went to who's ever looked at basic economics, you guys, supply and demand, markets go up and down. Eventually it's going to bust open and there's going to be opportunities there. And how are you positioning yourself at that time? So it's like, I feel like it's very important to go out there. And when I was doing my research for the show here, and you mentioned it, Jason, like it seems like seemingly everybody who works for you was a shipper at some point.
Yeah, almost everybody, or some side of supply side. Almost everybody, yeah.
Like with that being said, how are you guys able to bring that different understanding to the shipper community? Because I feel like if there's one thing a lot of people do in sales, they don't put themselves in the other seat of your prospects or anybody who kind of touches it, because you have that singular, how do I make money off of this transaction?
Yeah. I love that question, because that's one thing that we definitely touch on here. And there's a way to say it. Most shippers and most like freight managers don't want to be told that we've sat in their seat before, we know how to do your job. I'm sure most of them feel like their job is pretty tough. It's demanding. Your phone never stops. I mean, I know I feel that way. Mm-hmm. To me, it's kind of like someone saying that they have a dog and that's the same as having a child. both hard, but no, like it's hard to relate to somebody if you're not actually doing that job at that time. So we do like to say, hey, we come from the supply side before this. Again, we don't want to say we've sat in that exact seat, but we have some experience on working with shippers and for shippers. A lot of us did it for years, and being able to just explain that very quickly and let them know that we're in their corner. Again, it's more than just picking up and delivering. We understand the requirements of showing up with a trailer that's pre-cooled, a chute that's in good shape, a trailer that's been washed out. There's not a bunch of wood or sand or dirt from a previous drop in there. We're hauling food for the most part, fresh food. and you need to show up like you're ready to load that. And when we can convey that pretty quickly to someone that sits in that freight manager chair or that dispatcher chair at a grower shipper, I think we catch their ear more often than we don't. We're not jumping in and going, what do you pay for this? How many loads a week can we get? It's a different conversation. We're trying to understand that if we can set some sort of relationship up, have a chance to talk about what both sides are good at and how we can marry that up. I've found that's how we typically get the best customers and this is the important part. We want people that want to work with us. We don't want to have to beg you every week. And for some people, that's their life as a freight broker. For what we're trying to do here, we're trying to get people that want to work with us too, like an actual relationship. Yeah.
No, well said, right? Like, I think that's one thing that every sales rep, well, every is probably the wrong word to use. A lot of sales reps and a lot of business owners get to that point eventually, Jason, where they come to realize not all business is good business. And you want to work with people that want to work with you back, right? And you can tell, right? Because it's just like a relationship, or like with your spouse or with your buddies. Like there's no effort there, right? Like you can tell when you're having to work for something with somebody that doesn't seem natural, and then you have those natural relationships with people, and those are the ones that you inevitably gravitate towards. And for me, I think that one thing that a learning lesson it was maybe like a big perspective shift is we're servicing our customer's customer as a freight broker, right? And you kind of brought it up there when you were working for a previous employer, and you guys were Walmart was your biggest account, but like to Walmart, like you might have just been another number to them, right? Like I'm not saying that that's how they work, but I think a lot of brokers don't look downstream from that, right? Like you're the only one I'm concerned about. They don't look at how are you servicing the receiver or the shipper or however it is if they're not your customer. Because like I look at it as it's like we have three customers as a broker, right? Like we have our obvious customer, who's the one who's giving us the freight. We have our carrier. We have to treat them as a customer no matter what, because they are a direct representation of us to our customer. And then they are also that same direct representation to the receiver, if that's the purchaser of those goods. And, I think a lot of people fail to realize of how competitive every vertical actually is out there. Like within produce, how many people could buy from, other farms out there, and why do they do that? Right. So it's like, there's a lot of weight that goes into choosing your vendors and supply, and people that you work with to transport your product.
Yeah, 100%. Very well said. We try to do exactly that with all sides of it. It's the relationships matter to us everywhere, and we run that type of relationship based thought start to finish. We really do. We try to use as many of the same repeat carriers as we can too, because they get familiar with what we're trying to do here too. Treat them well, build loads that make sense. That's one thing you touched on a second ago. Taking care of the customer sometimes means telling them something won't work. If we do multi-stop loads, well, they have to make sense for the step deliveries. Drop 1, 2, 3. They have to line up right. And not a lot of times, it's out there. A broker will get tendered a load from a shipper, and you look at the drops and go, "Whoa, this isn't going to work." But a lot of times, a broker might be too scared to say something. They'll just take it just to get an order, and you end up causing more damage rather than telling the shipper up front, "Hey, can we tackle this ahead of time before it ships? We need to tweak an appointment or a delivery date a little bit so it doesn't screw up the whole rest of the load." And that is service. Like that is being able to speak up and having that relationship, being able to speak up and say that to the customer and get them to see the problem that could happen down the road ahead of time. That's when we bring some expertise into it. And it doesn't sound like it's that hard of a concept, but speaking up can be tough for some people. And you got to do it, and you got to say it the right way, of course. But doing things that make sense from the get-go helps your customer a ton, and in the end helps the receivers a ton.
Yeah, I look at it from my seat, and I've been told this by numerous customers of mine. And to kind of back up Jason's point here, you guys, and to maybe give you the confidence to bring some of this up, direct quote from multiple shippers that I've worked with is just this: we are not a transportation company. We expect you to bring this stuff to our attention. We are a manufacturer. All right. So it's like, don't feel ashamed. Don't think that you can't bring this up, but you got to have some substance behind it, right? Like you can't say this won't work, right? Like you have to break it down, talk about, because like we have some lanes that we run that there's some gray area of transit, right? They're like 700 miles. Some guys need 2 days to do it. Some guys can do it overnight, right? So it's kind of explaining those little nuances. And again, it sets you up as a transportation professional, right? Like that is how you can get out there and really separate yourself, because, to Jason's point, a lot of people don't say anything. They just have that, I'll just figure it out. And then things get messed up, right? Like I have just found that more times than not in my career, the times I didn't say anything is when it blew up in my face, as opposed to when I just went out there and said, hey, this doesn't work and here's why.
Yeah, totally. We have, it's one thing we stress on our weekly calls. It might not come up every week, but we talk about it a lot. Just the whole, that doing things that make sense motto, like damage control. Something as simple as, we have our brokers here, like Corey, Mark, Cody, they're really good at like getting things set up, like the midnight delivery appointment, right? Well, on some people's rate cons, it might say 12. On some people's, it might say military time, all zeros. Mm-hmm. Some drivers or dispatchers might space out for a second, key it in wrong, and to give it to the driver wrong, or the driver just might not read it right. Best way to do that, to me, damage control, is put 11:45 p.m. on the date before. They're 15 minutes early for their appointment. That's really at midnight. Mm-hmm. Just silly little things like that can make a world of difference, because I bet all of us watching this, or if not yet, it will happen. There will be a driver that will butcher a midnight appointment and they'll show up at noon the next day. Yep. And just doing the little tiny things, like spelling things out on a rate confirmation, write that same example. Instead of a midnight, you put 11:45 and you write underneath it evening, like a bunch of exclamation points, just like direct attention to something that matters,
I'm right there with you, Jason. I look at it as, so like every time that we load, we're out there, we're actively talking to the drivers, and like we will have those conversations. I like to go and just double check everything, because one thing that I was taught earlier on in my career is dispatchers tell you what you want to hear, drivers tell you the truth. Mm-hmm. And that's why I like to call and talk to our drivers like, hey, are you cool with scaling 46,000 pounds? You are perfect. You got tarps, you got edge protectors, you got straps. You're aware of this. Perfect. This is a job site offload. It has to be at 2:00 in the morning. Are you okay with this? You are okay with this. All right, perfect. And it's just double checking and triple checking things, right? Like I look at it is you have to have all of that done, because like at a certain point, you got to trust the carriers that they're going to do what they say that they're going to do out there. But like internally, you got to make sure you have your checks and balances that go on to make sure that, did I say everything? Because to your point, Jason, it's eventually something's going to happen. And you're going to be like, how could I avoid this from happening again? And you have to be able to stress test yourself, your processes, to ensure, because at the end of the day, we all make mistakes, but how are you going to ensure that you don't make it again?
Yeah. And our guys here, the brokers that I mentioned a minute ago, we all have assistants. We have Ben and Dennis and Scott here that are all helping out the brokers. And when they work together as a team to do those like damage control, just all those little details that help build as perfect as a load as we can build, as easy to understand as we can make it for everyone on the other end of it. All those things tie together, and for the most part, keep everything flowing really smooth, and keep us looking like we're doing our job to our customers, and importantly, internally, all this stuff rolls up really, really well for Nick that does our accounting and books. And when everything marries up, things are on time. We're not incurring fees everywhere, late fees, or forgetting a lumper fee. I mean, remembering those details to put that there's a lumper to be expected coming up. All that kind of stuff we button up together. We try to button up together really, really well. And all this combined effort should make a really good, like, outward facing Lone Cypress Logistics product, right? And it all comes down to just being detail oriented and caring about the result, and just trying to do the right thing.
How do you teach that, man? I think like this might be the $1 billion question out there that every founder and leader wants to know the answer to is Because like I look at it, as somebody, I'm like, I can teach somebody everything they need to know about transportation. I truly feel that way. I can't teach them to care though. How do you get that? Is it a culture thing where it's like the standards are so high inside of your organization that it's like it's a self weeding out, like you just won't last because if you don't do it this way, you're out of the organization?
No, I don't think we're quite like that. I think our crew is all like happy to be here. This is all, I think this is a pretty good opportunity for everybody to come here and be a part of something kind of from the ground up. We're not even at our 4th year yet. But I feel like there's a decent reputation here. Part of it is that I care. And I don't want to speak for them. I'd let them tell you themselves, but I know they know that I care and that I participate, and leadership's here for them. We have very open dialogue. Everyone should feel in this squad like they could speak up and air something out or bring something to our attention or compliment the business and say, let's do more of this. I feel like that's all there. And I feel like we've done a good job of getting people that want to be here. We could tell they care about their business and their customers. And I mean, in the end too, if we want to talk about money, it's their paycheck. I mean, if you're not doing the things that it takes to keep your customer happy, like within reason, probably not going to get a whole lot of orders. That directly impacts your pocket. So care from the beginning, do a good job, get rewarded for it,
No, I think, it makes sense. Like it makes perfect sense out there. How are you guys attacking the current market and like where things are right now, and where are you foreseeing things to trend into 2026?
Well, my crystal ball has been pretty weak lately, but we're, again, with what we have here, we're so customer service and relationship oriented that I don't want to say we're not totally exposed to like market conditions in the tough environment. I mean, we are. It's just we feel like we have good partnerships with our customers. Like we help each other. They don't like fully protect us. Like here's an open checkbook.
Yeah, no, I got you.
They're reasonable, and so are we. And we don't overreact to every little blip in the market, either direction. We try to keep things in a good, consistent level as best we can. And we keep the service up. That's how we're attacking it, by kind of sticking to our guns. And then now in the last couple of months, we're taking a stronger approach at putting our name out there. I mean, we're here on your show, and it's a fantastic opportunity to chat with you. It's really cool. And being able to talk about like what we do, hear about what you do and some others have done that you've had on here. That's how we're attacking it. We're just trying to learn, keep our ears open and just stay ready. And most importantly, it all comes down to protecting what we have. We were taking care of those existing customers and wanting them to want to do more with us,
I think a lot of individuals out there, Jason, they're waiting for it to get easier because they're not putting in the effort. Like they think that it's going to be easier. And that's like, it's just that hope, right? Where it's like, kind of like what we were talking before we went live here, man. Like eventually, like, and this is coming from somebody who creates a podcast every single day. Eventually you got to stop listening to podcasts. You got to stop reading the books, and you got to act, right? Like, I'm not saying stop learning, but like, I think a lot of people put a lot of weight on information and then they don't execute upon it. And then I think that is why you find yourselves in ruts more than not. And I'm not saying that everybody's always winning or everybody's always losing, but I know if I set out every single day, I show up and I have my priority list of critical tasks that I need to get done that day. I know that as long as I'm getting all of those done, I know I move the needle forward. It doesn't mean that I hit a home run or I got a multi-million-dollar deal or anything like that, because those are rare. Those take time to build up. But I know that if I look back and I'm like, all right, I sent my sales emails, I made my cold calls, I touched base with my current customers, I read a book, whatever that looks like, you're getting a little bit better. And I feel like it's an all or nothing approach with a lot of individuals out there. And I feel like they're just waiting. They're waiting for that next market shift. And then they just think that miraculously everything's going to work itself out. And it's not. Like, you have to work through it. Like, everybody gets rejected. All right. I got hung up on twice this week on my cold calls, right? So you're not alone. Everybody has that stuff happen to them, and it's not you. All right. Like, you got to go out there and you just got to make it happen.
Yeah. Super well said. It's, I mean, how dedicated are you to sticking your neck out there? And I mean, meet one new person a week, have one good phone call a week out of however many you make. You know, it all leads to at least a discussion, which could lead to maybe not them becoming a customer, but their friend is having difficulties in the same industry. Here, give my friend a call. They're really struggling with their freight. Great. Yeah. Put me in touch. Introduce me.
I look at it,
little things, man.
Yeah, I look at it, Jason, is like, you know, every conversation you have, everybody should know what you do. Like, it should be no question that Jason McArthur right now does cold chain logistics. He does temp-controlled logistics. He does produce. And everybody in his network should know that, right? And I feel like that's the approach that everybody needs to take, because no one's going to do it for you ultimately, right? Like, you have to be your biggest advocate, because nobody else is going to be your biggest advocate for you. But Jason, I appreciate your time, man. This flew by. I kind of figured it would, and I'm going to have you back on here again, man. I feel like we have a lot more that we can tackle. But how does anybody reach out to you, man? If you guys are hiring, anything like that, put all that out there.
Yeah, we'll put all that out. You can hit up sales@lonecypresslogistics.com. You can reach out to me directly, jason@lonecypresslogistics.com. I can throw our phone numbers. We have an 800 number and my direct number. I can put that down in the chat too. Anytime anyone wants to have a chat, we're here. We're always open to talking to new potential hires. Love talking with potential new customers, existing ones. Conversations are great. Let's just talk.
Perfect. I appreciate it, Jason. Thank you so much. That is going to be it for today, ladies and gentlemen. As always, if you got value in what you heard, subscribe to the show, you guys. And if you're feeling ambitious after this one, which you should be, because Jason just dropped a masterclass for you, rank the show on iTunes and Spotify, because if you saw value, your network's going to see it as well. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and we'll be talking to you soon.